Don't realize all you see is for you and I. In your dreams, through the nights, every moment that passes by, look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, I welcome you back once again to our show iTeens World. We'll be discussing another topic, and it will be a very interesting topic because it deals with culture. And I have a special guest as well today with some youth guests, so I'm just going to start with the introduction.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Farhan Arif. I'm from Pakistan. I recently started a car business here in the Emirates, and it's a new business, and entrepreneurship involves a lot of leadership. So this will be a great show for me.
My name is Abdul Mateen Yusuf. I'm 17 years old. I'm from India. I'm an Indian Muslim, and I'm year 12 student.
MashaAllah, welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhaimin Fuzail. I'm 14 years of age. I'm from Malaysia, and I'm in year 10.
MashaAllah, welcome to the show, all of you. We'll just quickly start. The topic of today's show is building intercultural relationships. And what does it mean to build these relationships, and what are the guidelines to build this relationship? Again, remember, this program is to facilitate a discussion where we can acquire skills that will help us become better leaders and have understanding. So this program is for youth, parents, as well as everybody that is interested in leadership. We will start by just looking into this. What is intercultural relationship from your perspective?
Well, if you take it from an Islamic perspective, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He has divided us into different tribes and peoples so that we may know each other. And this is knowing each other makes a big difference in interaction. Once we know the other person, which cultural background he's coming from, it helps in interacting with him, and that helps smoothen out many conversations, convincing him.
And especially in business, you know, in entrepreneurship, and I don't think only in business, but you will see that it really helps if you know the different cultures, because culturally Japan and Japanese can be very different in how they do things. You know, they have a different approach, and when you're dealing, exactly. And even within the continents, you know, Asians can be very different. And Asia is a big continent; it's the largest continent, but it has so many different cultures and the way the people interact.
Different cultures have different. People have different ways of closing deals, for example. Some people close deals on a dinner table. Right?
Yeah, like the Chinese, for example. Yeah.
So if you need to know this in order to facilitate your business, if you're thinking from that perspective.
But
Brother Farhan, like as an entrepreneur, you've met many cultures, right?
Yeah, primarily since we are living in the Arab region, most of our customers come from this region. We have customers from Russia and Oman, if you're talking about this region. So it makes a big difference. Some terminologies are specific to different cultures, so you need to know these aspects.
So it's easier for them to agree for a deal if you understand the culture?
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. As I mentioned, different cultures have different ways of closing deals.
All right.
And then coming back to leadership, and I think as a leader, when you look at you know, the bigger picture, understanding all these different cultures makes a big big impact on how. Again, we were discussing in the previous episode building influence. So I think it makes a big difference on how you look at things when you understand the culture. What do you think, Abdul Mateen?
Yes, what I was telling you before some time ago that especially here in the UAE, we have a very varied
international,
varied mix of people from all over the world, right? It's really important for a person to recognize, understand, and be open to other cultures and people of other cultures, whether it be their race, nationality, creed, or how they eat, what they dress, what they talk like. And a person, many people, they want to try and be offensive on that type. That is totally not acceptable.
Yeah, just because they're different does not mean you can discriminate them. Just because you're from India and I'm from Malaysia, does not mean I can insult him.
Yeah.
There's racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, this is again beautiful because we live with perhaps around 200 nationalities. I mean, this region is very much very diverse.
Especially this city of ours, Dubai, mashallah, is really one of the most diverse cities in the world. So as I was saying before, it is very important for us to have the intercultural knowledge of that. And as I've been responsible for some other people under me in my school, I've seen that once you know what they like and what they're good at. For example, you can't categorize everybody generally from that place, but for example, Malaysians are really creative in a way. Really? Don't worry about it. And Indians are mostly hardworking people, and people from America, they usually are good in presenting, okay, and a lot of Pakistani and South African people are really good in teaching and encouraging people. So it's really important that you take the strengths of each place, and as a leader, you can combine those strengths. Obviously, you cannot generalize, like, all Indians are hardworking, no. All Malaysians are creative, no.
Yeah, and even India is so diverse.
Exactly.
There are so many different types of people living in. And
so, but you should have a knowledge of those cultures so that you can understand.
You guys are blessed. We are in a place where you have that opportunity to interact. What about the people that are living in a place where they don't have? What would you think will be good for them to acquire those skills?
You see, even if they're not interacting with people from other countries, you definitely will find people from other cultures, other groups of people. There are different groups who are living in the same city, for example. So that also is a part of interaction with different cultures, because they will have different cultures. Yeah, I come from Pakistan. In Karachi, there are different groups of people living there. So all people have different cultures. So you don't need to travel to another country to experience diversity.
Yes, diversity within and diversity outside. I think another thing can be to understand intercultural, building those skills is to read about different cultures. You will then perhaps, since we are globally interlinked, you will perhaps the opportunity to interact at some level or the other. Now we are very interlinked, so I think reading about cultures and how people do things is really helpful. Like I remember I have done actually a lot of reading on how Japanese do business, and the reason was it just intrigued me, but then the learning gave me something that was very different from other people, because they didn't know anything about the Japanese. So people start coming to you and asking you, remember you were talking about that you have studied something, and I wanted to know why they are so creative. And so you can start with the reading again before you start the preaching.
But Wasim, you grew up in Nigeria as a Pakistani living in Nigeria. How did that go on?
Yeah, it was actually very
And you were pioneer in one of the international people who live somewhere else, I think, in your generation.
Yeah, it was a good, I think, opportunity, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I spent a few years in Nigeria before moving to Pakistan, and then to Canada for 12 years, and then
coming back to
UAE. So yes, that exposure was wonderful, because really it gives you an understanding of the different places in the world. So I do encourage youth, if you have the opportunity, to travel other places, because this is the time, this is the most productive time where you can actually go on tours that perhaps if you can afford outside your city, your country, and interact with people. Even I know youth are very much involved on the internet, but that internet interaction can also be productive if you try to learn another language, try to know more about the culture, or rather than just spending time chatting without unmeaningful chat, you can say.
And it's a blessing from Allah if you think of it from that perspective, because knowing other cultures and how people behave is very intellectually pleasing. You feel more fascinated, and it's very, very satisfying when you know how other people live. That's why people travel.
Yes,
people travel to see how other people live. So it's tremendous. It's a blessing,
and that is encouraged in the Quran, as Allah says, "Qul siru fil ard." So it's an encouragement to go and explore the world and see whether it be the signs of Allah and the beauties of the world, and how beautiful is Allah that He has created some.
And I think to enhance this skill further is, if you are traveling, travel for the sake of Allah.
Exactly.
So you make the intention that you're going
Get
to
the
this
reward.
region,
And the
not
travel
only
becomes
doing
an
business.
ibadah.
Yeah, because that's how Islam spread. When Muslim traders went to Indonesia and Malaysia, that's how they were going for business. But the intention was perhaps different. That's why Islam spread without any war or any invasion. Islam was spread through the traders, and that's why again I think 9 out of 10 the halal rizq, there is a statement by the Prophet ﷺ, comes from trading. So yes, you have to make your trip meaningful. So if you travel abroad, make sure that we have this intention that it is to know people, so that perhaps we can pass on the message of Islam if they are not Muslim. If they are Muslims, we will take something from our brothers and sisters, perhaps we didn't know about them. But and help in community work. I think this is another way of youth to enjoy this productive time of their lives, because they have the time. I mean I remember, I don't know if I told you, like my father during summertime used to tell me, and travel, go, here is your small little money, and okay, you go and travel and see the places. And that's how you go and you go to different communities, you live with them, you really appreciate, like Brother Farhan said,
Yeah, like my dad went to Palestine the other day, like few years ago. He saw this man who lost his arms and legs because of the war in Israel, and then my dad offered him quite a lot of money, and he said, no, I don't want this money, just give me freedom. My dad just cried in front of him, just because of knowing how other people live, how they're suffering.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to the concept of self-confidence that we discussed a couple of episodes before, that a person can build self-confidence by putting himself in unfamiliar situations. So as an Indian, I would feel kind of rather comfortable with my other fellow Indian brothers. But when I put myself into unfamiliar situations, when I talk to people of Somali origin, of Nigerian origin, of Malaysian origin, people from the West, people from Europe, that gives you an unfamiliar situation, and that helps build your self-confidence. Why? Because then you can start a communication, and because that's really an adventure.
No, but you need language, because
not necessarily language.
Yeah. See, I think that's why when we go back to our deen, we as a ummah will consist of different cultures, and we have to embrace them all.
And we are the most diverse religion in the world.
Yeah, because we come from all different places. I mean, I was reading a few years back, there was a mosque in Yukon, and it was carried. So basically they had to carry a RV type.
Yeah, so that mosque, where is Yukon?
Yeah, where's Yukon?
Yukon is in,
the northern
borders between Canada and Russia. That's where it is. And it was the first mosque, and subhanallah, they are living there. Eskimos living in the snow houses.
Igloos.
Yeah, igloos. Yeah, right. and they are living, and they are Muslims. And I think we need to study these things, because it will give us a better understanding of, there was one small village in Mexico that the whole village became Muslims. So we have Muslims everywhere, mashallah. And it's just traveling, looking at the world in a different way, and making that intention that subhanallah, we want to learn for the sake of Allah, all the different brothers and sisters all over the world, and the people. It just serves humanity when we understand better.
As the Prophet ﷺ also said that Islam will reach wherever day and night reaches.
Yes.
So that the two stories that you mentioned really goes to fact.
Yeah,
and day and night probably won't even reach the North Pole. But mashallah, it really has gone that far.
Yeah. It was very interesting discussion, but we have to take a short break, and we'll be back, so don't go away. And we'll be discussing again the topic of building intercultural relationships. Until then, see you guys soon.
Look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
Let's start from where they started. Who are they? The companions of the Prophet ﷺ. When they started learning the religion of Islam, they started with the Aqidah, the belief system, faith. Brothers and sisters in Islam, dear viewers, the Prophet ﷺ spent 13 years in Mecca teaching that generation the belief system, the Aqidah. Aisha radiallahu anha confirms this by saying, the first things which were revealed from the Quran was matters of Aqidah. Who is Allah? Jannah, paradise and hell. Jundub ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, we learned the belief system, we learned the Iman, we learned the Aqidah, then we learned the Quran, the Quran. Brothers and sisters in Islam, nowadays, a lot of our cultural practices, a lot of our societal norms are against our belief system. And the reason why we're falling into this, because we did not start from where they started. Join me, Kareem Abu Zaid, twice a week on Huda TV screen with the new edition, Aqidah Matters. See you
to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, viewers. We were discussing the topic building intercultural relationships at iTeens World, and we were just having a very good discussion, and I want to just continue with Brother Farhan saying something during the break.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, when we travel and meet other people from different cultures, we have to remember as Muslims, we have one thing in common.
That is Islam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's a good starting point, right? People usually travel and they don't find things common between them to start off. We have Islam in common. We pray together.
Yeah.
We share the book of Allah, the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's a good starting point. So even though we are different, we're meeting different people, we have a common thread.
Yeah.
Isn't that the message of Islam, as being, even though we're from different countries, we're like a big family because we're just following one religion.
And that's the best place to see that is in a mosque,
Yeah.
where you have people from all over the world,
and we're
Yeah.
together.
whether rich or poor, middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class,
Yeah.
on the same line.
We're all
In
the
Mecca
same
and
in front
Medina.
of Allah.
Yeah.
In Mecca and
Especially,
Medina.
Yeah.
Well, the
Imagine
king
the
stand next
diversity.
next to the cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
There's no differentiation at all.
we're just all beneath Allah. We're
Yeah.
praying together. Just for
Yeah,
Him.
recently my visit to China, subhanAllah, everywhere, you go, there are a lot of now halal restaurants in China. They just connect. They, I don't speak Chinese, but we have a common language between us, and mashallah,
That's Arabic.
they're starting to speak
Even though
a
you
little
don't know
bit
the
Arabic
language.
and my Arabic, and we just connect, and subhanAllah, it was beautiful. And they just come to you, you just suddenly know that this is family. They're very respectful when they say, "Oh, where are you from? Where did and subhanAllah, this is the strength of our deen. It connects instantly. More on that, I think it's also about how do you deal when we come to Islamic ethos and fundamentals with other people who are perhaps not Muslims. What do you think? How will you relate to that?
Brother Wasim, I think that
what we can do is we can show our religion in our action. We can, through action, they say actions speak louder than words. So we should display our religion through action and interact with other people based on our principles. It will create a tremendous influence on them, and it will also do the work of da'wah.
Yeah. What can you say to the youth? Because in different parts of the world, there are youth that are perhaps a minority, maybe one or two in the whole school. How do you think that they can react to this perhaps a little differences that we have?
Probably be kind to one another. Be kind to the ones around you. Because if you're kind to one another, like I was friendly to him in Al Ansar, and he was in grade. What grade were you in?
11. Yeah.
11. I was in grade 8 or
I was
something.
in grade 10. Yeah.
He was in grade 10 and grade 8. And now we're like close friends now.
Yeah,
Even
because
though there's age.
even though
difference.
I'm from India and he's more than 1,000 miles away.
But it's with other religions as well. I'm talking about, you know, when
Yeah,
you
I
are
think
not on the same.
That's what I was saying. That again, as you mentioned in some of the previous episodes, have confidence of yourself as a Muslim, and always stand up for the truth and be a good role model for others to follow. So you should stand up for values such as truthfulness, trustworthiness, you know, amana, keeping your promises as well.
Brother Wasim, you see, these Islamic values, these values are positive across cultures.
Yes.
Right? So truthfulness, even though you will find a person who is not truthful, he knows that truthfulness is a positive quality. So if you keep that quality, it will make a big difference.
And if you keep truthfulness in that high regard, you know, Islam gives that much importance to truthfulness that Prophet ﷺ said, a liar is not from us.
Yeah.
A liar is not a Muslim. So that the truthfulness is that high in Islam.
Yeah.
So
Because
may Allah
sometimes
help
you
us
feel
do
that the Muslims perhaps know the values, but they perhaps are not putting it into action. Again, in all the leadership series, I think this is one of the common themes that we
So
have.
that's what, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You go put yourself out. If you know what you're doing is right, and you have confidence in Islam, and if you know Islam really, so that you can, if people ask you, don't feel offended, say, what are you doing? No, nothing. I was just, I think that you praying or something? No, I was not praying. I was just cleaning something from the ground.
So what do you think of, you know, like we respect all the cultures, right? In Islam,
Of course,
we respect humanity in general. But what do you think when it comes to, you know, different celebrations? So should the youth go with those celebrations, or should they stay away? Will it be rude to stay away? What do you guys think?
In Islam, there's only 2 celebrations we should celebrate. It's Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. There's only 2 celebrations that we have to, that's compulsory.
Yes,
the rest
true,
are just cultures. They're not part of
So
our
what do
religion.
you guys think then? How do we avoid these things? What do we say?
Again, it comes down to company, Brother Wasim. It's difficult, but you should try to get good company wherever it's possible. And masjid is a very good starting point. You can make really good, like-minded friends from the masjid. Even though you're not getting in the school, try to get good company outside school so that your iman is strengthened. And when you are around good company, you can keep your principles in action.
But I think a well-prepared previous response to, hey, why don't you come to the Christmas party with us, for example. You would, I think what I responded to that, either you try to ignore the fact, I don't know whether that would be a thing, no, I have something else to do, or just outright deny them. But I think I more responded that, no, I would not come to your Christmas party because it says so and so, and I do not agree to your celebration.
Yeah, we do what the Creator tells us to do. This is our guidelines, and they should respect it.
And
I think sometimes we don't understand the fact that actually when you state the fact that this is what we do, our way of life is based on what the Creator tells us.
Once they know that we stand up for this, they will ask, why do you stand up for this?
Exactly.
Because we are that positive and we are that confident that this is the truth.
Yeah.
And for that, it comes back to, as you said before, that we should learn about our religion first, you know, and then have the knowledge of our religion. So it's our duty to go back to the knowledge.
As his brother Farhan said, you have to get good company, right? If they do not respect your religion, then that's not good company.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then you have to change the company.
Yeah, exactly. They should. I think they will respect you more once you stand up for what you believe in.
Be strong on what you believe in.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is, I think, the weakness of Iman is when we are weak, you know, then we are going to be ridiculed. Then we are going to be bullied. And then we are going to feel like we are left out. But if we are strong on the foundation, then inshallah, automatically they respect you. You know, when you say, look, I don't do this, and they might tell you, but the other Muslim guys in the school, they go with me.
They also influence the rest.
Yeah, they go with me, but you know, they celebrate.
But I think what was I may be wrong in this aspect, but I tend to just completely avoid them altogether. You know, whether I would personally not interact with them or give a response or even show my face to them during that particular time period.
But I
what
think,
do you think that
but
is
I
that
think
right
no,
or wrong?
I think we need to mention, because it shows our belief is strong. It shows, you know, that we need to have that courage. We need to compromise, but we need to have that courage to stand up, because we are on the truth. We know that. But again, we need to respect others so that, we earn the respect, like humility and respect. So we don't become the arrogant. This is not being arrogant, because we are just following our religion. This is our right to believe in what we believe. We don't tell them, come to Eid al-Fitr, or you have to celebrate Eid al-Fitr.
But you can invite them.
Yeah, and if they like to come, it's their right. If their culture allows that flexibility, and ours is not a culture. Ours is a religion. It's a way of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking about the inviting people to our Eids and festivities, that great example is what happens here in Dubai during the Ramadan. Mashallah, so many people accept Islam because they come for the iftar parties, and they understand that this is something. Why do Muslims do all this? Why do 1.6 billion people
invite them to your Eid? Then they understand the religion more.
And the brotherhood that they see is uncomparable anywhere. Anywhere. And it's the same thing when we're talking about intercultural relations. The best example in the world is Hajj. When nearly 4 million people come together from all over the world, all races, all wealth backgrounds, all family backgrounds. They come together for one single purpose.
There is no poor, there is no rich. We pray in the same
just as one
place, and we pray in the same line. I think this is a big statement. When you visit all over the world, you tend to realize that this does not exist in any other place.
Such a big gathering of diverse people.
Such a big.
When people fight for racism and all that stuff in the past 50, 60 years, Islam has given us this right 1,400 years ago, nearly 1,450 years ago. So we should be very, very proud of this fact.
This is why the Prophet ﷺ came with the message that there is no tribalism, there is no racism.
As he said in his last sermon, that an Arab is no better than a non-Arab, and a non-Arab is no better than an Arab. It's only by the taqwa of Allah that
we're all created the same way. We're all the same.
And this is the beauty of it. But again, going back to the topic, this is what we come up to, like building that intercultural relationship is important to showcase our deen, our religion, our belief in the most positive way we can.
And we can do this by obviously learning about other cultures and traveling, as you said before, and as well as you like to add,
friends.
Finding good company and friends.
From other countries are good also.
Yes, exactly.
And other faiths, that's how you will influence. But again, we need to put that guidelines of, we don't need to then say, okay, I'm just going to delay my salah because I'm going with these guys. And I think youth has a more responsibility on, dealings while in school, while in university and college.
That reiterate the thing that delaying the salah part, the very good story of one of the sheikhs that you said, he became Muslim. He was in England and he became Muslim. Why? Because he saw some Muslim boys praying in school.
In the classroom.
Exactly. So they were praying. So he's like, why are you praying? Why do you take this so important? And that made him, as a young boy, as a teenager, I think he was 14 or 15 or something like that. Yeah. And he researched Islam at that young age.
14, he was 14.
He was 14. So you think you're a teenager, you have no influence at all. You do. You really do.
So let's sum up, and if you can just give me the takeaways, so for our viewers, they can just look at it, and perhaps it's a learning that we are encouraging, and you can go back and study and pick a culture and learn about it. Why not? We need to have more understanding of different cultures. So what do you guys think? If you can just give me one takeaway from today's discussion.
Probably finding good friends from all over the world. Then you can get to know different cultures, but also following the right way, following Islam.
And you can showcase the religion in that way.
Have an open mind and accept people from different traditions, cultures, and creed, so that...
And read about them.
Read about them, exactly.
Keep your principles and interact with other cultures.
Thank you so much. It was again wonderful having you guys here and a wonderful discussion. And we will be back with another episode of iTeens World. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Through the window, realize all you see is for you and I. in your dreams, through the nights, every moment that passes by. Look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger. Look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger.